So we're just delighted to have the opportunity to have Sharon Wood with us this morning. So join me in welcoming Sharon. Come on. Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Well, now for something completely different, but not really. I'm here, and I've been invited here, and it's an honor to be invited here, if I may say, to share with you a personal story about climbing the highest mountain in the world by a route that had never been climbed before in its entirety, and that has been attempted many times since, but without success. And every time I tell this story, and you can tell I've told it a few times now because it's been 25 years, I have to remember what's most important in this story. And so I go back to one of the first times I ever spoke after I climbed Mount Everest. I was invited into a classroom to speak to a group of children, 9, 10 years old, a group of little kids. And their teacher had primed them to expect this mountain climber to come and talk to them. And there I was up at the front of the room, and I was just beginning to tell the story. And all the kids were sitting in the back on the floor. And I guess I didn't get to the point fast enough, because one little guy's hand shot up above his head and he said, "Hey, when's the mountain climber coming to talk to us?" And I said, "Well, I am the mountain climber." And he said, "No, you're not. You're just an ordinary girl." and from there on out, I learned that that is the best way to tell this story. This story is about ordinary people achieving extraordinary results. And more than anything else, I know that you probably won't want to climb Mount Everest after this. And I'm sure some of you may be wondering about whether it's worth all that effort and whether I could justify, or you could justify, the risk just to stand on top of a mountain. But that is not what this story is about. This story is about what makes people rise to extraordinary levels of performance. And that's what I'm most interested in. In fact, that's what I've been interested in all my life, is what gives me cause to rise, what gives me cause to be more than I knew I was. And that's why I loved climbing. I have been a mountain guide for 35 years now. I get to take people to places that they dream about going to. But the best part is I get to help people match their dream to what they're capable of doing. I help them do things that they could not imagine being capable of doing. And it's a great job. And the reason I like doing that so much is that's the challenge that I have, is I can dream something and really want something. But sometimes I can't imagine what it's going to take to do it. And this is very much what the case was for me when I was looking at climbing, or wanting or dreaming about climbing Mount Everest. I wanted to go to do something that captured my imagination and gave me that cause to rise. And I had this dream of performing better physically and mentally than I ever had before, and I knew I would have to get anywhere near the top of that mountain, but I didn't know what it would look like yet. And so this man here, a man by the name of Jim Elzinga, was the leader of that expedition in 1986 to climb Everest. And he had this very bold vision to not just climb to the top of Mount Everest, but to climb it in a way it had never been climbed before, with a small team of people, with a smaller team than how it is climbed most of the time, with fewer resources, less money, and to climb a harder route. Now, you might wonder, why would you want to make something that's already considered pretty difficult more difficult for you? And there's a very good reason for that. When have a chance to do something that's never been done before and join a group of very inspired people that are very compelled by the notion of doing something that hasn't been done before, where you know that each person in that group is going to be required to perform their very best to get anywhere close to realizing that dream. You end up committing in a way that inspires a higher level of performance. That's why we wanted to do or climb that mountain in a way it hadn't been done before.